Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Nicholas. I'll be your host and referee for today's highly anticipated matchup. Right, before we get started, let's go over some housekeeping rules. Right now, you, the audience, will be playing the most important part. Right, in today's matchup. Right, the important rule here is for today's bout is the scoring criteria is not about who looks better, have a better site profile, a lot of FB followers, right? We recommend when you do the judging, right, consider all these into your account, right? The challenges you're currently facing, the relevance of the arguments to you in your role to you today, right? So it's about you, right? Think about yourself, right? We'll be doing live polling with the results updating in real time on your screen, right? Let's do a warm-up poll. As you can see, you already see the QR code, right? Use the QR code, scan it, read the question, put in your decisions, or use the link provided in the comment box, right? Now you can hit it now, take a look, and let us know what are your comments, right? So that we can do a quick warm-up with the polling when we do it again later. So while you're responding, let's go over some other rules for today, right? If you have questions, you like the debaters to answer them, right? Please type them in the comment box and we will also answer them during the Q&A portion at the very end of this session. In addition, right, if you share with us your feedback, you can be one of the lucky 20 winners, right, to win an exclusive red hat gift from us, right? So today's debate will be contested over 3 rounds, right? 1 round each for each debater to argue their case, right? If we need a tiebreaker round before we go into the judges' scorecards, we'll do it, right? If we have a very fierce fight, right, and they are both equal, we'll get that tiebreaker round. So speaking of judging, the results of the first poll are in. Let's take a look. Right. So when automation is the most impactful and effective, wow, we have live streaming in, and we have most of us, right, most of them, right, agree that it should be implemented across the organization. Wow, you can see things moving around. So it's proof, it's live, right? So let's get the match starting. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the main event today to answer the age-old debate of IT professionals. IT automation, solving point problems or versus eliminating efficiencies. First, let's meet our debaters. Introducing first in the blue corner, awesome Anirban Mukherjee. Right, Anirban is a seasoned veteran with 18 years experience dealing with IT infrastructure and cloud solutions. Take a bow, Anirban. Take a bow. Right, today he's representing the commonly held opinion Anirban hears from customers and partners every day. He's challenging the opponent to prove him wrong that IT automation is great for fixing individual point problems, but really nothing more than that. And his opponent in the red corner, Sean Steltmouth Sim. Woo! Right, Sean with 18 years under his belt. Sean regularly found with different customers in the region building their transformation experiences. Sean, make a wave to everyone. Right, he's our fighter in the blue corner and fighting it out for Singapore, believing that automation is for the whole organization to benefit from. Gentlemen, just now we have gone over the rules in the dressing room. No hitting below the belt, right? Protect yourselves at all time, right? And speaking when it's your turn, right? Touch gloves and back to your corner. Right, to throw the first punch, we have awesome Anirban to argue why automation is about solving point problems. Are you ready? Let's get it on.
Hi, everyone. I think automation is great for my team. We have been using automation for a long time now. We have been using shell scripts and open source solutions like Ansible and Puppet to make our lives easy. That's not an issue at all. Most of the software that we use is open source, and we try it, we use what we think is best for us. In fact, I feel that since automation tools doesn't really do anything on their own, you really have to write your own use cases. We are actually in the best position to understand the use cases, implement it, and then support it. And that is exactly why I feel that when some people say things like, for enterprise software, we need to use paid solutions for automation software. It doesn't make any sense to me. Why would we do that? We implement our own use cases, and therefore we support our own use cases. And therefore, automation for me should always be in the open source domain rather than going for paid solutions. And to take this further, at the end of the day, if I were to take a proposal to my management, right, with a budget to procure paid software, they will ask for a business case. Everybody does. What will I say? I already get a salary for the work that I do, and now I'm recommending paid software worth thousands of dollars to make my own job easier. I would rather do more for less so that I come across as a valuable employee for the company. Similarly, I don't buy into this concept of greater efficiency by standardizing across a single automation solution. Let me give you an example. The networking team, whom we all love, has their own tools. They purchased it together with their networking hardware, and its capabilities, believe me or not, is well beyond simple automation. Why would they want to change? I think they won't. And here's another one. I personally use Ansible and I love Ansible, but there are members in my team who are experts in things like Chef and Puppet, and they have been using these for several years. Some of them have developed a lot of automation content, for example, on Chef, which they are able to quickly modify and bring it to good use for the organization. And this has also helped them personally because this has given a good impression of them to the management, after they join the company. Imagine if they had to learn a whole new automation software from scratch. That would have taken them years, and they would have missed out on the opportunity of getting those quick wins. So I believe the fact is the cost of integrating automation tools across various solutions like your service desk, your DevSecOps, your monitoring solutions, alerting solutions, and other software is actually huge. It all sounds good on paper, when my counterpart argues about orchestration and everything. But by the time it all gets implemented, half of these systems have actually changed, and we are always chasing our own tail. So I believe it's much, much better for letting the individuals decide what's best for their jobs and what are their own preferences. Based on these preferences, they should choose their own automation solution. Over to you, Sean.
Whoa. Right, what a great fight. Right. Oh, cool. Back to your corner. Okay, guys. Okay, blue corner's time to respond now. Sean, Stealthmore's team, you support automation needs to solve inefficiencies broadly and collectively. So are you ready, Sean? Right, fine. Let's go.
Hi everyone, my name is Sean. Okay, Anirban. I think automation is great for your team too, right? But before you go off with only just that, do have a think about the following scenario, right? How are all the teams in your organization going to communicate and work together in the long run, right? Let's just imagine a 0-day scenario today. There's a security loop in your organization and it hits you, right? How do you coordinate everybody in the shortest time possible? Areas like DR, security gap mending, restoring your systems to an optimal point in time, right? Okay, ensuring that they're all running good and well, right? So all this takes up time, right? And it actually requires everybody to get together. So with a little bit more inclusion and effort on the overall picture, we could go a longer way. Solve organization-wide capability issues. Have the collective morale and strength of the organization helping you out when things go the wrong way. A lot of things need to happen on the fly. Have everybody on the same page. Here's how. Right. You're right? Modern automation is about orchestration. That's the simplest rule of it, or the number one rule, right? It simply orchestrates. It doesn't replace but actually it strings the point productivity tools together, right? Areas like servers, network, storage were all meant to work together to begin with, right? Everybody collaborating on the same productivity train simply brings us back to where we were meant to be originally, right? It saves time and effort on the organization. A single automated server provisioning process with security network software embedded simply is more efficient resources use, right? New capability. Yes, I agree with you. Technology doesn't stop reinventing, but all the more you need a tool that actually supports an ever-evolving landscape. An orchestration approach strategy to automation with an ecosystem that is writing compatibility modules simply means that your system can take up more responsibilities in future as well. The ability to execute at push button simply means that you can perform things like config drift or patching exercises more often, improving the capacity of your team to respond to crucial jobs, right? Standardizing your corporate skill set. Of course, the road to automation, Rome, is not a strict one. I never said it was, right? But we're simply suggesting a less tedious one. In the long run, imagine everybody in your organization speaking the same automation language instead of different tools. It's like everybody in this room is speaking English, right? Imagine there's a Japanese, Chinese, Bahasa, Korean, everything in one room. How is it going to be like? It simply is more efficient to share automation, playbooks around the organization and improve business continuity. In the process, it simply costs less for the organization to learn automation, and perhaps money saved could be better channeled into other support, right? It also frees up time. With COVID-19 affecting the way we approach life quite permanently, I must say, automation needs to make its way into our lives, right? To support things like working from anywhere, 24/7 kinds of interactivity with our digital fronts, right? Everything needs to always be running to always be in optimal condition. Daily firefighting and chores, which you otherwise have to pass around to relevant colleagues, they get done. So what do, right? Have a more peaceful lunch break? Okay, or maybe even focus on things like strengthening the patching process, all right? Even ensuring that scanning for config drains happen, okay? Through an automation, no less. Put all this together in a collective benefit that helps.
Okay, what a fight, right? We had a great debate here, right? And the crowd really on their feet, right? Anirban landed his first punch, getting quick ROI, lowering consulting costs, had his opponents all focused on purpose-fit tooling, right, for network automation, right? He mentioned network automation using Ansible automation platform. But Sean, right, he didn't cower away, right? He recovered and he counterpunched with using automation as a highly productive tool that can get everyone collectively produce reusability through standardization, right? Great fight there, gentlemen, right? Great clean fight. But I think we need a tiebreaker, both of you, right? You score equal hard hits. We need both boxers to wrap up their argument within 1 minute to see who is the last man going to be standing, right? So Anirban, we'll let you go first, right? Over to you, Anirban.
All right. Thank you, Nicholas. Well, I'll give it to Sean. He's raised some good points around team collaboration, no doubt about that. But the issues that I raised in my last argument are still not answered. How can someone create a business case for paid software when open source alternatives have been deployed in my company for several years? Do you think the management will question why we did not need paid software earlier, and then all of a sudden this has become such a necessity? What about the playbooks? There are no support for playbooks, no matter which vendor we go with. So every time something breaks, the internal teams have to get involved and provide support anyways. So how is this helpful? Also, how can the company standardize on workflows and Sean's word orchestration without forcing everyone to use the same tool? And the moment we do that, we are going to piss people off. If multiple teams agree to collaborate, they can do that anyways without purchasing expensive software. The fact is, every few years technology evolves and we are better off not tying ourselves to any one single solution.
Right, all right, back to your corner, right? Sean, Your turn next. Your final chance to land the knockout blow in 1 minute. You're up next, Sean. Go for it.
Great, Anirban. It really seems like you are starting to warm up to the idea of actually paying for some supported enterprise, right? All these years, nothing happened. Just because you went open source doesn't mean that nothing will happen, right? Firstly, it lacks the enterprise capabilities when you go onto open source, free open source, just like that, right? Because things like clustering, HA, they are missing. On the community, there are also issues that have been there for months, if not years, right? Once you post an issue, guess what? 50,000 people are looking at your potential vulnerabilities, right? And 50,000 people out of them, just need one person to hack themselves into your network. That's it, right? Okay, you're really paying for an expert engineering team to support and ensure those functions are of a professional grade. They're responded to in a prompt and trained manner so that you go back to production mode quickly. I know you can take a risk, but your customers take a risk. New ways of working like DevOps, Agile development, they marry the whole organization. It's therefore imperative that you have a strategy to look forward and incorporate. Your workload only gets higher if you definitely have a strategy that's scalable to anticipate. Is your company ready for that? And that is all I have to say.
Okay, awesome fight, man. Wow. I think Sean really fought valiantly, right, from all the jabs coming from Anirban. Right, what a great debate. Okay, but now we gotta have a winner. We have to have a winner, right? So let's go to the judges' scorecard. We'll ask you, the audience, to decide who is the winner for this debate. Right, so you can see the QR code there. Use the link in the comment box or scan the QR code. Remember, answer the questions. The questions should be answered based on the criteria that you are thinking about the challenges you are currently facing and the relevance of the arguments to you in your role today. So, what do you think is the best approach for automation solution? Right? Tell us. Right? So while we are waiting for the judges' decision, it's time to take some questions from our audience. Right? Let me take a look at all the questions over here. Right? We have a question from David. Right? David Tiang. Right? Do you expect automation tool to be able to scale when use cases exceeds the current requirement? So let's have Anirban take that question, right? Do you expect that?
Yeah, look, I think, first of all, based on the arguments that I've made, which obviously I hear from a lot of customers, the answer is that use cases will come and go, and essentially the teams are in the best position to choose the automation solution that solves the business problem. They are the domain experts, right? They know what works best. But I will let Sean answer this question from a Red Hat perspective, because I also work for Red Hat, and there is, in my view, some merit in thinking about complex processes like DevSecOps, where it is just not a single team's problem. It is the problem of the entire company to deliver a solution. So over to you, Sean. I'll let you, answer this in the Red Hat way.
Yeah, thanks, Anirban, right? And that's exactly what we mean by orchestration, into the future. Future anticipating is important, right? When we design a platform like this, it was never about point technologies, right? It was about to be able to take up as many as possible and to anticipate as much as future as possible. We look at it from an organization-wide perspective. Use cases will grow, okay? The number of tools in the environment will grow. That's why we use open standards, right? In terms of preparing our software to be able to connect to the rest of the world, right? Things like RESTful APIs, very easy to use programming languages, right? So such that the take-up rate for it could be much easier, right? And people from all walks of the organization can start to come together and possibly collaborate on a very easy to use platform. Anirban earlier on mentioned in his fight, right, that we've got people having to force them onto a tool. right? To actually take up very different languages and whatnot. From a Red Hat perspective, the design very much the central core of it, right? We made sure that it was actually not a full-fledged programming language, but a markup language, right? Such that it's easy for people to actually program the playbooks. And then with everything that comes along, we can orchestrate and add more into that whole flow of things, such that it's much easier to anticipate the future. In fact, we have a lot of customers, that grow from strength to strength, by a strategy like that.
Oh, very kind exchange of blows, huh? Come on, man. More fierce
Pull my
argument.
punches a little bit.
Okay. Now we have another question from Clement, right? Guys, please keep the question coming in. Right, we have another question. Maybe I like Sean to take that question, right? Can I understand where you will see your automation requirements in the next 1 year, right? Since collaboration you're doing at scale, so how does it look like for you in the next 1 year?
So from customers and as well as things that we see around us, right, it gives us an idea that automation will just grow more and more, right? With COVID-19 affecting the way that we'll work, for forever, right? I've also mentioned this, right, that earlier on that you're just gonna have more and more automation needed to support the notion of ideas like working from anywhere, right? The individual connections that go out of a company, an organization, IT needs to be even more robust, right? Okay, and then we're doing things like shopping from the home-based web surfer, right? Okay, your digital fronts are going to be more ready than ever and more optimized than ever, right? With the digital transformation age, put onto us, right? Things like instant gratification is no longer a something that can dream about, right? It is the new norm. Therefore, we can no longer do things manually. The number of use cases will grow by the day. In fact, we see so many customers coming to us, not just from a IT infrastructure perspective, right? We're also looking at it from a application perspective, right? How do we ensure that applications are running at optimal, right? And then we go to back end like the caches and the inventories and what, right? Yes, I agree with this Anirban or some point technology, but the thing is that they keep coming back to us to say, I'm only affecting part of it. Okay, I'm not helping the whole organization. How do we string everything back together? Right. So maybe Anirban can provide us a view later on this one. Huh?
Yeah, man.
Okay, next one.
Anirban, how do you scale, right? In the next 1 year, you're so focused, point two, doing one thing only, right? What do you think?
Yeah. So look, I mean, just staying in character. My view or what I hear from customers is that if you're looking at point tools, scaling is all about individual innovation. But the fact is that individually innovating, maybe innovating the same thing over and over again, right? And is that really necessary? Because if I think about it from a Red Hat perspective and what we bring to the table for our customers, maybe if something is already developed by one team in a very innovative way, that should be reused, okay, by many other teams, right? And this reuse is only possible when there is some sort of standardization and some sort of centralization, right? While I'm all in favor of localized innovation because the domain expertise really lies there, but there has to be a way to essentially pull that up all the way to a company-wide level and repeat that, right? There's no point reinventing the wheel, okay? And many teams sometimes do that, and I think that doesn't make sense. That is not scaling. That is the reverse of scaling. So growth and scaling really comes from utilizing the best and in as many places as possible.
Yeah, man. Right. Automation should be about collaborating, right? And be able to scale, right? So let's take another question, right? We have one question from Ramesh, right? Will automation reduce the head count? If so, what is the future? Right, Sean, I want you to take this one.
Okay. We get this all the time, right? Will automation reduce the headcount, right? In fact, just now in part of my fight, I hinted at it, right? With automation, we can go for a nicer lunch, right? But okay, that's only being done in a joking manner, right? But then again, think about it. you have a sprawling technology, right? You have sprawling IT infrastructure, right? What you are simply looking at is automation as a tool to help you do your job better. You're actually looking at things like more high value added, right? It's like if I can do patches, right, on time, I can do config drift scannings, right, more regularly, right? How does it help me? It helps me identify violation. It helps me identify gaps better, so that I can actually spend more time on the actual problem rather than firefighting. Okay. In fact, we always say this, right? It's always about rubbish in, rubbish out, right? So the person who's operating the automation becomes more important, because every single action, right, affects the entire inventory, the entire infrastructure. All the more somebody who understands and is an expert at that is the key candidate to actually be looking at all this to make it even stronger, right? So that's end of the day where I see that things working in harmony, right? Anirban, over to you if you have anything to add to that.
So my view is that on this is that productive people are valuable for the company. Productive teams are valuable for the company, and productive companies are the winners in the industry, right? So if automation improves your productivity, it's going to make you as an individual or a team or the whole IT organization better. And if it is doing better, then I would expect more investments, okay, and more investments to do the right kind of jobs, to do the more valuable jobs, to make the IT really, really strategic and a business advantage, for your organization, right? So I don't think automation takes away any jobs. In fact, I think automation just makes sure that people are doing high valued work, and because they are doing more high value work and the team is contributing a lot more, IT becomes a lot more important to the business. More investments come into IT, and IT delivers a lot more value to the business. Maybe IT becomes the reason, the competitive advantage for the business. So I actually think automation is the reverse of losing jobs.
Yeah, I agree. Right? It's either you're the automator or the automatee. Right? Automator will keep your job, right? Automatee will get you out of the job. Right. So okay, I think we have the poll results already coming in. Right. So here are the results. Right. We can see the answer to the argument. Right. We have most people, right, agreeing that it should be standardized across the organization, and that's what we're hearing as well. Right. We have many people who like to do and choose whatever they like. Right. It's an open source tool, right? You can try it as a hobby or try it as a single user, right? And use the tool as you like, right? But if you start doing for production, right, you need to standardize, because you can't be the lone ranger and go at it alone. Then you will fail at it alone as well, right? So I think most of us agree that to be selfless, you need to apply standardization using automation tool, right? So that's the best way to do it, right? And to do it big and to do it far, right? So that's the results. And at the end of this broadcast, we will be sharing a link to the feedback form as well, right? Let us know how we did today, right? And stand a chance to be one of the lucky 20, right? Anirban wants to fight again. Right. Stand a chance to be one of the lucky 20 to win an exclusive Red Hat gift from us. Right. We will be planning a follow-up webinar as well, where we'll do a deep dive of IT automation. Right. So fill out the feedback form, right? Share with us, and we will send you the webinar invite as well, right? To attend this follow-up webinar on IT automation. Right. Lastly, the most importantly, you enjoy the fight between these two guys, right? So we have all fights recorded, made available to you on demand, right? So check our landing page and watch all the episodes, right? And on behalf of Sean, Anirban, both great fighters today, showing us fierce fight, right? On behalf of them and on behalf of Red Hat APAC, I'm Nicholas, signing off. Till next time. Have a great day ahead.